Now, exactly 70 years ago tomorrow, the unconditional surrender of Japan to the Allies brought an end to 6 years of conflict, suffering and sacrifice. It'll be commemorated around the world, but no more so than among three men from the South, Harry, Reg and Bert. Harry Basford was with the RAF in the Far East. Reg Goldsmith was in the Royal Navy. And soldier Bert Warne was a prisoner of war for 3.5 years after being captured at Singapore. They had all travelled to the other side of the world from their homes in Southampton, and today they're all friends. Steve Humphrey has their story.
Many regard those who fought in the Far East as the forgotten heroes of the Second World War. Harry Basford is now 93. As a young serviceman, he served with the RAF in Burma, working on airfields close to the front line. Reg Goldsmith is also 93. He was a petty officer in the Navy and served on the mighty Portsmouth battleship HMS Howe in the Pacific. And Bert Warne is 95. He was in the army. Captured at Singapore, he spent 3.5 grim years in one of the infamous Japanese prisoner of war camps.
Of course, I'm fatter now. You see, that becomes there, see?
Bert still has the loincloth he wore while he was a prisoner of war.
That's it.
And that's all you wore?
That's all I wore, yes. Yes, that's it, yes. Yes, and a hat, I had a hat, yeah.
Bert travelled out to the Far East after getting engaged to his girlfriend Frida. He almost didn't reach Singapore. His ship was bombed and he had to swim for his life. A few days later, in February 1942, he was taken prisoner by the Japanese when the entire Singapore garrison of 80,000 men surrendered.
It was a disgrace, really. Well, you mustn't say that, but the thing is, the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing. No, it was pretty no, they never had jungle warfare. They never had a ready clue.
Bert worked on the infamous Thailand to Burma railway, where thousands died from disease, starvation and ill treatment. Bert's weight dropped to 6.5 stone at one stage. He says any disrespect to the Japanese was met with a beating.
Yeah, come along and hit you across the face, smash your face. That's what they used to do. Hit you around the face, you see, which is degrading, you see.
While Bert languished in a POW camp, Harry Basford was amongst those battling against the Japanese. His job was to maintain telephone communications on airfields used by the Hurricanes that were supporting the infantry.
The first 2 years are the worst. It's the second 2 years that you wonder if you ever get back. You had no fresh food at all. Absolutely no. You would think you could get an orange or an apple, but no such thing.
The battle against the Japanese forces wasn't just happening on land. Out at sea, a formidable Allied fleet was involved. Amongst the ships taking part was one of Portsmouth's big battleships, HMS Howe. And on board was Petty Officer Reg Goldsmith. The ship's guns were being used to great effect.
We were bombarding the airfields, putting the airfields out of commission, you know. But of course there was still some planes that got through, as I say, you know, one got a sneaky go at us, but he didn't survive that, you know.
Reg's war eventually ended when HMS Howe sailed back into Portsmouth Harbour. What was that like?
Pouring with rain.
Bert Warne had a very long journey home. He arrived back in October 1945. In December, he and Frida got married. He says his time as a prisoner of war were wasted years.
About 3.5 years of young life taken away, really, yeah.
Bert and his friends had very different experiences in the Far East, but they all say that they are the lucky ones who returned home to tell the story.
Amazing story, isn't it? And commemorations tomorrow, as we said, for 70 years, and you can see that on the BBC.